Hello guys, welcome to Tutorial Ace, and in this video I am going to provide training on JWT token. Guys, if you are a backend developer, if you are a website developer, then knowledge of JWT token is important. So guys, step by step with illustration, with real-time example, with real project, I will show you that how you can implement JWT token, and most important, what is JWT and how this works, because I have seen most of the students are confused about this JWT token, that what is this and how actually this works. So guys, step by step I will try my best to provide you complete information about JWT token. But before we proceed ahead, let's understand what JWT token is all about. So JWT stands for JSON Web Token. It stands for JSON Web Token. It is a compact URL safe token format used for secure transaction of information between two parties, that means client and server, typically client and server, as a JSON object. So that is important thing. JSON is a JWT stands for JSON Web Token. It is a compact URL safe token format used for secure transmission of information between clients and server. JWT are often used for authentication and authorization. JWT is often used for authentication as well as authorization. So I have seen most of the students are also confused about this, what is authentication and what is authorization. Also in interview, this kind of questions, tricky questions are asked in interview, that what is difference between authentication and authorization. So guys, in this video I have also included and tried to demonstrate you the difference between authentication and authorization. So let's start with practical example. To understand this properly, what I have done, I have given you a real life example, so that normally what happens when you relate to in a real life example, then it is not difficult, it is very easy to remember for a long time. So that is why I have tried my best to provide you this kind of information. So guys, suppose this is a Rajesh Reddy. Just imagine that, okay, this is a Rajesh Reddy. So what happens, recently he has joined a company, a MNC company, right? Now what happens there, he regularly goes to the company, but he requires some authentication. That means he requires card. Without card, the company does not allow to enter him into the company, inside the company. So now what does he do? He goes to the company office and he shares his personal information to the staff, so that the card can be generated. A new card can be generated. For example, he provides first name, last name, email address, etc. Okay, address. So based on that, the lady takes the information and generate the card, and finally she gives the card to Rajesh Reddy, so that next time when he goes to office, he can show to the security guard. In the next step, what happens actually, now he gets the card and now he is going office. Now when he reaches to the office, tries to enter, then security guard stops him and says that, okay, please show your ID card. Okay, now what happens here, he is displaying his ID card, and finally he is allowed to enter into the office, and now he can walk into the office. Now one important thing you have to keep in mind, card is issued once, right? And now daily whenever he will going to office, he has to show that card only. That means what, the office person doesn't have to issue card daily basis. Card is issued only once, but that card can be used several times whenever he goes to the office. So maybe there is some expiry, maybe for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years, then once again card needs to be renewed. That is totally another thing. And in JWT token same happens. You can provide some timing expiring. So guys, from this story you might have learned that, okay, in the company the card is issued, and that card gets the employee gets, and whenever he enters into the company, he display the card, he demonstrates the card, security guys check the card, and finally he is allowed to enter. Now let's understand in technical terms what happens here. The client is sending some information. For example, he tries to log in into the server. He tries to log in into the server. What happens here? Server request, he processed the request. Server here is processing the request. Client sends the request and server is processing the request. Now what happens here? After processing the request, a token is generated. That means card is generated. A token is generated. That is called token. Okay, that token is provided by server to the client. The token is after processing the card. That means the token is generated and that token is provided to the client, so that next time when he visits the server, he doesn't have to provide complete information on daily basis. Just if he shows token, then the server will grant access. Well, now what happens with this token? The client with this token try to access the server, means any page, maybe authenticated page, dashboard, add, update, delete, whatever. Okay, so the client try to access with the token. The token was provided by the server. Now with the same token he tries to access the server, and finally what happens? It says the access has been granted. So guys, this is the complete flow. I have tried my best to explain that how JWT works and how in real life it is used actually. So guys, hope you understand that how this works. Now let's understand in coding terms. This is the first step. So step by step I will try my best to explain. Once again, I have demonstrated you through illustration. Now let's understand. A user logs in providing credential, user and password. Okay, whenever you log in with your user and password, if credentials are valid, then server generates a JWT token. That means you just saw in previous slide how a token was generated. So server generates, remember the token is generated by server, not by the client. Okay, so server generates the client JWT token. This token is sent back to the client. Then this token is sent back to the client in the browser. That means maybe browser and mobile app. Okay, so you understand here very clearly that client logins, then based on his information server generates a token, and that token is given back to the client so that the client doesn't have to log in again and again. For example, if you have 5 pages, 10 pages, 100 of pages, then what happens? If this kind of token is not generated, then what will happen? When you log in, then if you try to access another page, once again you will have to log in. If you try to access third page, once again you will have to log in. So it is very difficult. In that case, what happens? It is generated a card, and based on that card the client shows here, means the token is sent to the server, and server recognizes that okay, this is the same token I have provided to that client, and finally he is granted the permission. Next, the client shows the information locally. Okay, now the next step is how the client gets the card. After getting the card, normally what happens? We keep in our purse, in our bag, somewhere. So in real life, means in the coding perspective, if you think, then where it is stored? It is stored normally by local storage into the browser or mobile app, session storage and cookies. These are the mechanism through which the token sent by the server, it is normally stored in the client, browser or mobile app. Next, step number 3. For future request, means whenever the next page is tried to access, the client sends token in the header. So how it is sent? Like this: authorization bearer JWT token, means this token will be sent to the server, and server will check that okay, the token is genuine, this is the same token I have issued, then the pages are allowed to access. Now server verifies the token, the server receives the token and verifies its signature. It's important now, because anyone can create that kind of card, a fake card, and try to access. So the security guard will check properly that whether the card is valid or not. If it's valid and not expired, of course, then the server trusts the user identity encoded in the token, because inside the token, normally what happens in your driving license or in ATM card, normally there is a chip so inside the chip all the information is encoded. Similarly, in token all the information is encoded. No need to query the database again for each request. This is very important. One doesn't have to go every time to the database, select a star from this and check whether the client is correct or not. So this way, that is why it is called stateless. Stateless means it doesn't have to query database again and again, select star from user whether it is valid or not, select star from user it is valid or not. Just imagine if there are 100 pages, 200 pages, then every time if the server, database is queried, then it will be too cumbersome. That is why it is too useful. It's very useful. Next, how JWT structure is encoded. So normally it contains 3 parts in JWT, and it is encoded in base 64 encoded parts separated by dots. So for example, first part, second part, third part. What happens here? In the first part, it is header, algorithm and token is equal to this kind of algorithm. There is some algorithm tells how to verify. Second one is payload. That means here will be user data, for example first name, last name, email, whatever, and expiry date. All these things will be encoded in second part, that is called payload. First one is encoding method, second one is user information, and finally the signature. Hashed combination of header and payload. This is combination of header and payload, this signature, okay, used to verify the integrity. So guys, this is how the whole JWT structure is created automatically. And finally you will see this kind of encoded JWT token code. So you can see that hardly anyone can understand that what it has been written. It is completely secure and encoded. Now the next question is where it is used. Means JWT token can be used where? It is used in backend languages or technology. For example, in Node.js. In Node.js it can be used using npm install. It can be used using Python also. So there is a different package, PyJWT, Auth-lib, Flash JWT. Similarly, you can use here in Java, and then C#, that means .NET, identity model tokens, PHP, Ruby, Go, Rust. So all these are backend programming language or technology. So using these means in this you can use JWT token. So you can understand now how important it is, because if you know any one of these languages, then knowledge of JWT becomes a must. Now one very important question: what is difference between authentication and authorization? So this is authentication and authorization. Definition: verifies who the user is, and this verifies what the user is allowed to do. Purpose: confirms identity, grants access rights. Happens when? Before authorization, after authorization. Involves login, credential, user password, and this user role. So these kind of things are there. So now let me explain you. For example, you are logging into your client panel. Normally what happens, there is admin panel as well as clients panel. Okay, you are logged into admin in clients panel, means client side. So you have been successfully logged in, that means you have been granted the permission to log in. But now you are trying to access the admin page, you are trying to access the admin path. In that case it will be authorization. This will work. Means you have logged in, that is authentication. Means your user identity has been verified, that okay, your email and password is correct, but are you an admin Are you a salesperson? If you are not authorized, in that case, that section, that area you cannot access. So that is the main goal of authentication and authorization. So you open the, for example, just I have tried to provide you example here. You open the banking website and enter your username and password. Okay, the system verifies your credential and confirms your identity. Okay, you have gone there to a bank website and now you have tried to log in to check your bank balance or whatever. Okay, you have been verified, you are successfully logged in. This is authentication. Understand, this part is authentication, means you are successfully logged in into the bank website. So that part is authentication. Now you are logged in and try to access admin panel. The same thing I just mentioned before, but your account is regular, not an admin. You are just a customer, you are not an admin. In that case, you get access denied message. This is authorization, guys. So hope you understand what is difference between authentication and authorization. Next, this is the same thing. What happens? Authentication, user logged in incorrect credential, verifies identities. Same thing I have explained here. Now, how it is possible that all languages you don't know, but at least just I have provided a glimpse, just short example that how JWT token is used in different languages. For example, in Node.js, it is used something like this: JSON Web Token. So this way, JSON Web Token can be generated. Here you can see JWT sign, payload and secret, and then expiry time. And finally, JWT in this one is for creation, means first it is created and given to the client, and when client comes back with that token, then it is verified, something like this. So guys, this way JWT token is created and verified in Node.js. Next one is Python. Similarly, here you can see, here it is created and this is decoded, means this one is for encoding, means after encoding it is given back to the client, and then when client comes to the server, it is checked after decoding. This one is for Java. So as you know, Java is known for security, so of course there is some complexity in this. So there are different modules, means packages which are imported, and then this kind of algorithm and token is created here and it is verified. In the next video, I will show you Java authentication using JWT only. Now with this PHP, so this here is also created and decoded. So guys, this way, whatever language you are prefer, whatever language you know, you can use JWT authentication and you can make your website secure. And also in most of the cases, interview questions are asked from JWT authentication. That is why I decided to create this video, so that you can understand and you can utilize this. So guys, if you are new and you have not still subscribed, as you can see, it takes a lot of time to generate images or to illustrate and all that, so it takes a lot of effort. So guys, you try to subscribe, as well as you try to like button and all that. Whatever help you can do, you can do. So guys, that's it. Let's meet in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.